So this is the workshop from surviving to thriving in a team. And this is basically where we start off. So I'll be just dragging this here right now so you guys also see. I will be doing this a couple of times just to make sure like the right image is in the focus center. All right, Michael, yeah, for sure, 70 years old, USA, Manhattan. So another cowboy. Oh well, Texas is cowboy, right? Manhattan is like the city boy. Yeah, for sure, the goal, tier 1 coach in the near future, working towards reaching tier 2 in the next 3 to 6 months, getting more knowledge overall. Yeah, amazing. Always good to fill up your coaching toolbox. You know, as a coach, you're never done learning, so that's really good. Yeah, and for Douglas, French baguette, oui. Being top tier Rocket League coach here today because always eager to improve and learn from the best. Well, much appreciated. You know, and he's talking about all of you guys. You guys are the best, of course. Alex, 29, Ireland, currently coaching UCL Division 2. Really want to be the best coach I can be and hopefully someday make it my job if I can. I think you can. I'm here today because I have basically I have been basically learning and coaching on my own, and I think that anybody has expertise that can help me improve myself if I'm open and eager to learn. Yeah, for sure. So it starts with you, right? I can talk all I want, give you the information, all of the tools and everything, right? But it's you that needs to be open, and it's amazing that you're here. So that's a showcase, a testimonial of your openness. So Angel or Akai, Mexican guy, nice. Mexican, a little bit of South America already represent. Tier 3 coach, looking to high tier 2 by the end of the year, and I'm here today, learn as much more as I can. Amazing. So I'm going a little bit faster since the comments are coming in. So for Ducky, dissolving conflict and being tier 0 card game referencing comp by 2036. All right, Belgian or tier 3, tier 2 coach since 2 weeks, no experience, struggling right now, no idea what the topic with that topic precisely. So you're in the right place, man. Like maybe I'm not sure if I will cover it, but the way I always talk about coaching, many coaches think like coaching is just like, oh, I need to get my drafting or my meta perspective and my strategy in order, and then I'm gonna be all right. But the greatest coaches, they understand that coaching is not a few big things. It's only small things done right constantly. And we're just focusing on a few specific things here today. So Aaron, non-professional team in IDV5, very promising players. That's really nice. You're right. We recently top 1 world class MSI equivalent in my game. That's really nice. Yeah, Cameron, my buddy. Right. The path to pro guy. Yeah, gamer knowledge from what goes inside of a team that has a lot more experience than I do, and see what I can include inside my team. All right, and then for now, the last one before we dive in, because we need to be sparing with our time. From the Netherlands even. Right, nice. Another Dutchman. And student still, and I coach in my free time, want to pursue that after college, right? For sure. I'm here today because I want to figure out if the style of teaching in NLE is one I like, and if the space I want to continue learning in. Well, you put a lot of pressure on me, but I think it will be all right, but it's up to you to decide afterwards. So amazing. So with that being said, while the rest of the messages jump in, just keep typing, keep dropping it, because it will be nice for the rest to see. Then we move on. So why are you here? So what is my promise for you guys of the goal of today? So by the end of this workshop, you will know how you can influence your team environment and help your team's performance to its maximum capacity. And this is no understatement. It feels like, oh, maximum capacity. Like, how do you do that? Like, I need to learn so much. Usually it's not that much. It's just like quite simple actually. And it's the biggest effect, and it is super underutilized in any team, whether it's amateur or the highest level of tiers. For you to understand if you are in the right place for this workshop, you are in the right place, and you will pick up some things, and you will, I think, like it and grow as a coach or player. If you want to coach or play in a competitive, or you are currently already playing in a competitive esports team, you are ambitious and driven to make it to the top. You want to work with people that care just as much as you do, and you want to become the best coach player you can be. So if that sounds a little bit about you, then welcome, we are in the right place. So, but to start off with, like, we need to start off with the problem that we're slowly starting to build on in terms of like moving into a solution. So the fear everyone has when joining a team, whether that's a player, whether that's a coach, and it doesn't matter if you basically got the most perfect recruitment program, like trialing players, doing a trialing yourself, and you think like you have the best potential and you did the best decisions in order to select the right talent and the right people to work with you. But at the same time, this is always the biggest question at the start of a season, because we all know, especially if you've been around for a couple of seasons, right? We've all experienced this. I have experienced this, right, as well, years ago. It's always a question, well, we got the potential, but will we be able to pull it off? Will we be able to perform with this team? So there's a lot of puzzling, and it feels like super complex and whatever, like so many factors come in, like with all of the personal lives. Is a synergy right? Like you look for personality traits and culture fit and like the right gameplay and mechanical side and yada yada. But will we be able to perform even when everything looks right? So that is what we will be focused on today. But for the people, like I think most of you, like hopefully know a little bit about me. If not, that's okay. This is just like a quick brief check on, like, who is this bald guy that making all these claims and making these workshops and stuff. So I'm Donny. I'm that bald guy standing here with MCon Esports, one of the biggest teams in the Netherlands. It was a couple of years ago when they were thriving in League of Legends. So I've been a professional performance coach myself between 2019 and 2021 and did a lot of things. But without going into super detail, like it's not like that I've been a coach for one particular game as I was a performance coach, but you can say a little bit of highlights of my track record. Like I created, in terms of like championship teams with like the Fuse Kids, Lowland Lions, even with a Pakistani player, like of all things, that's a video for a different moment. But you can say maybe you recognize some. This is like Alois for the League of Legends players, or this is Rocco. He went on to become like a FlyQuest, and other players who went internationally or coach for higher level teams as well. Then I've also been coordinating an esports development program here in the Netherlands. For development coaches, you guys know Milan. He was a former world champion with Ascent, and now he's the head coach of Fnatic, and also helped players also sign contracts and help them achieve their dreams and getting signed by these professional teams. This is the FIFA team, basically, or now the EAFC. This is Renzo. He's now the head of management of Team Liquid, because they merged with Team Gullit, in terms of like, for the people who know. So that's like the most prestigious, like also a couple of world champions in terms of like the EAFC guy. And we did some sessions together, and I'm also working with like the development projects, and not what you can see here, not only like developing the coaching skills, but also helping players, coaches, and people in the esports space to reach those higher level teams. So helping them growing their careers. But most of it is what I do, and basically where we are right now is just like on Discord, giving courses, hosting programs, and helping people like you grow and achieve their goals and dreams as well within esports. So that's basically it. So with that being said, that is relevant for today. So when I was beginning, I was a collegiate League of Legends player, and I was a player myself in esports, in Doran's Esports, in one of the cities, like one of the first things. And it's pretty casual, but I felt I was really competitive. Like I wasn't like top 0.1%, but I was really competitive. I wanted to compete with other people as well. So I wanted to perform and grow with the team, becoming the best player I could be. And after a few weeks, we were assigned a coach, right? And this is basically why Next Level Esports exists. But this matters because I expected a lot from the coach, but not only from the coach, but also from the other players. But honestly, that was a big disappointment, because I felt out of control. That I thought, the coach would fix things. He will provide, this learning and thriving in esports climate where we'll all be, gelling well together, have the team building stuff. But actually, even though we were competing, it genuinely sometimes, not always, but at some points felt like a waste of time, that we, you know, felt stuck in the same team, that we all had a shared ambition and, you know, wanted to grow and reach, you know, those goals and be competitive. But we really were not getting there, even though, you know, we tried really hard. And because of that, the energy, motivation, and performance dropped over time, basically feeling stuck. And this was one of the first experience, but this is not only my only experience. Maybe you guys had it as well. Like, you feel so excited to work with a team, but after a few weeks, you just know and feel like something is off. And you feel like maybe like in a golden cage. Like, of course, you have like your competition and enough like-minded players, but it really doesn't gel well. Where did it went wrong? We cannot really perform. Like, things are not working out. So why does this matter? This is why it matters. Because the reason why you get in that position is basically this picture. A lot of the times, in your esports team, it starts with one little domino, one single small action, maybe one player showing up late, maybe one person not doing his homework, maybe one person being a slightly over the edge, a little bit, you know, toxic or whatever. And it feels like, oh, let it just slip. You know, in the Netherlands, you know, in the literal translation is like, we see it through the fingers, like we see it, but actually pretend that we don't see it. And I've been there, I've did it, you know, for a long time, but I know for a fact that most players and also most coaches are basically guilty of that similar behavior. Because it all starts with something small, and at one point in time, you'll be thinking to yourself, how the hell do I get to this point? And that is basically what will be discussing today, and really try to find a solution for it. And there is a solution for it. But here's the key, right? In order to have that success, there's one particular, you know, mindset or thing that you really want to understand. And without this mental frame or this like conviction that this is true for you, Ducky, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Yep, merci beaucoup. So what is really important before we can dive into anything else that we're doing, right? This is the single most important mindset shift or thing you have to embrace, because else it just doesn't work. So what is the key towards your success? And it's not only for like esports, just generally in life. And that is taking on personal leadership. And the real breakthrough, the key that you want to have, is you will want to take 100% responsibility for everything in the world. Not just your team, not just your house, not just your study, not just your work, for everything in the world. Because, let me explain this thing. Because if you feel like, for whatever reason, life is happening to you and you feel like, yeah, but I did not have an influence. That player was super toxic, or like even like our home flooded or whatever. Like with the sea, it rose just like a couple of meters, and like now we're wiped out. Like, I understand it feels like super ridiculous, but without this mindset, you are never in control. You always let the outside of you influence you. But when you take your 100% responsibility, even though that feels like a big load to carry, instead of being like a leaf in the wind that just like goes wherever the wind blows, you are in control, because you are carrying the weight basically of the world and everything in your environment. That is the mindset that takes you from where you are right now to whatever goal you want to reach. And that is just 100% facts, because else it's just like, oh, you know, it's Trump's fault, or like, oh, it's the economy's fault. Oh, it's that manager's fault that didn't hire me. Like they don't like me enough. Like, oh, I'm so unlucky. No, it's all basically your fault. And this is harsh, I know, but it's what will set you free. Once you adopt this, you are literally mentally and physically free to do whatever. And there is no one else to blame. So now, a rhetorical question just for you, you know, to get like a little bit of interaction. Just keep the chat open, right? Just like a simple question: can you control other people? That's just like a simple question. Can you control other people? In Supreme Commander, right? Exactly. No, exactly, right? No way, it's impossible, and I see it right now, right? You literally cannot control people. Then why are we trying to control people? Like maybe when we're mad, when we're emotional, like this is like when we try to control people or shape their behavior or try to control their way of thinking or how the truth is actually, you know, from your perspective, that is where things go wrong. And they go wrong fast. Because we have our own interest at heart, right? We want to win as well, just like the others. And sometimes we try to force them, unconsciously manipulate our environment in a way that is controlling rather than setting free and trying to really work with other people. So this is not what we want. So the big answer is you can't control people. That is a fact. But can you control yourself? Right, Aaron already said it, right? Like you're ahead, so you can for sure control yourself, right? But what can I do to help my team perform? Because the thing is, if I go back, most of the people who are starting to get serious, just think back of what players say, like, or what you are saying, like, I'm just gonna do the best, that I can do. I'm gonna show up prepared. I will control myself. I have the destiny, and they put all the focus on themselves, right? And that is for sure a good start. But now here's a different perspective. Think about like the traditional, top sports stories that you know about, like basketball or football, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, maybe like Michael Jordan, right? Kobe Bryant, like all of these great people that that exist. They don't show up on the field or on the court and just like, I'm just gonna focus on myself and gonna play. What you see immediately is that when they jump into a team or get into a team, they hold other people accountable and they shift the energy immediately. So they are not controlling themselves. Yes, they control themselves. But what they also doing, what can you do? But you can influence people. And that is the thing what we will be focusing on. And this is so underutilized, because when you learn something in terms of like a psychological theory or like what you're trying to do, either it's focused to control people, like we want to coach in a certain way and to think like we have all the solutions, or we try to control ourselves. But there's so little emphasis on like, how can I actually influence people? And it's not just like, maybe that you can influence people, but what are those crucial moments that make the difference of just being a mid-level team to becoming a championship title team? Because the championship title teams, especially at the highest level, they know how to influence each other on the highest level. Because, the skill gap is just so tiny, so fractional, that these are the things that actually matter. So for you, a quick interaction. So reflect, what do you recognize that you do and in what way? So maybe you have 3 answers if you feel like, yeah, sometimes I control people, sometimes, yeah, I try to control myself and influence others. Or maybe you're only, feel like that you can reflect on it, like, yeah, I'm kind of at the moment maybe controlling. So just use the chat. Right now, everyone use the chat, participate. That's important, to use it or lose it. And what are some ways that you can recognize, maybe it's from a year ago or maybe last week or maybe even today, that you try to control people, where you try to control yourself, and when you really try to influence others, right? Just to recognize, to understand, like, yeah, you have experienced this before. Just like with solving or moving further, we first want to reflect and recognize like that these things exist also in your life, that this is not something like theoretical mumbo jumbo, but really look at reality from your own perspective, your lived experience, and that these things are true. But then what are the things that are true? We really make it come alive. Yeah. So that's interesting, right? What you said, like what Payne said, like I influence others pretty well, but sometimes I forget that influencing is all we can do. And so it's more me trying to control, right? And you're so right. It's such a fine line. So when I influence people, where does it influencing stop and controlling starts? Or when controlling stops and influencing starts, right? You try to control people and myself, but I don't really want to force others to do stuff. I don't really know how to motivate them, right? So you will leave today with how you can motivate, like at what moments and what to talk about. But it's in a different way. It's not like really a skill that you have to, practice in the moment. Like influencer pre-post game. Yeah. You told me that today. So yeah, it's nice to see that again. So controlling sometimes. So let me put it here for the recording as well, and for you guys to see. So yeah, I'm conflicted, but this makes me think of this is the most. What do you consider the interaction of? Coach thinks character A is good. Player 1 is the best potential person to learn and use character A. Player 1 doesn't agree with the pick. Right. This is an errand. This is a really interesting, discussion, argument, conflict. But how can you solve that, right? And when you're inside the moment, usually that is really difficult to navigate, especially when emotions run up high. And Ducky said, I typically leave once I see myself, slip. You exclude yourself. So you're trying to participate, but then focus on yourself, stopping with your influence, because your emotions are running high, right? So this is a super interesting dynamic. So everyone basically are saying like, yeah, I have this influence. I try to control myself, but sometimes I shut down and do things. So there's something here that we all can agree on, that this is real. But how can we then influence others? So for this masterclass, I want to cover 2 core secrets to become more influential in teams. And so let me reveal them. So the first one is to change with the relationship basically that you have with your players from being interested to being invested into your teammates. And I will explain in just a moment what exactly that is and how you can basically change that. And also the second secret is already know what your team needs. Now, you guys are all describing situations, common situations, but what if you already knew that is coming, right? So we will dive into how can you know what your team actually needs without basically knowing them? How can you find out, the triggers and to influence the people in the right way at the right time to get a positive effect instead of spiraling into conflict. And that is what these great people, coaches, players, and influential persons know how to do best. So let's dive into core secret number 1 to become more influential in teams. And that is from being interested to being invested into your teammates. So the mistake that many players make, or even coaches, right, or managers, just any person in general, they think, and maybe you're thinking it right now when you felt like, yeah, I'm invested, right? I know my players well. I have built a relationship. We laugh together, we do these things. I already have a good relationship with my teammates. I know them well enough. Well, coach, player, manager, let's see about that. Because usually it is just plain average relationship building. And how does it look like? We hang out together. We talk about a lot of stuff, about the game a lot. And we talk about hobbies, what's your favorite movie? What is your favorite food? What other games do you play? Yada, yada. Yeah, man. Well, we know each other. Or knowing and understanding each other's humor is usually also a key factor. When you inside the practice scrim to take off pressure and just we understand each other, each other's memes, each other's humor. So this is usually the average relationship building. And maybe you instantly recognize this yeah, I've been here, or maybe I've only been here. Maybe some other relationships stand out that feel a little bit more deeper. But from my experience, this is usually 9 out of 10 times how deep it goes. This is it. But the bottom line is performance, and the thing why you guys are here is based on deep-rooted trust. Not shared humor, not knowing what the other person's hobbies and, what their thought is about strategy, or that you just hang out together, watch a movie, or send a YouTube video or a TikTok reel or whatever to him and then just laugh again. Although knowing this is the beginning, like this is for sure like a good start, but this is where if I can assume, most of your relationships stop. And that is where the potential and the ceiling of how far you can go with the people that you work with stop. So, if you're still thinking like, okay, these average relationships building, like it worked for me, well, let me tell you, once you get into serious team, it works until it doesn't. I've seen this so many times, and then, I was getting paid, good money as a performance coach to solve the most basic issues because simply there were issues in the team. That's nice for me, but not nice for the team and the performance. And it happens many times. And maybe you already recognize like, maybe that is the truth. Until it doesn't, often being surprised, or a problem in the team exists, but you don't know what. It's like after 5 weeks into being in the team, it's just like, I feel like something is off. Like we're not really motivated. Like something is going on. Like we're not really, gelling well. Like we're not really aligned. We have different opinions. Like it's really difficult like to find each other. Like what's going on? But what is the actual problem? Oops. And once all of a sudden you're in a shithole, underperformance, no motivation, and everything spirals down. And almost for all teams, this is like the thing that is almost like predictable. And then eventually you will have these necessary conversations where finally a player or you speak out what is the problem, and then it's like, oh, but I didn't know he felt uncomfortable in the way we practice. He wanted to play in a different way, but I didn't know it was that uncomfortable. Or I knew he mentioned it once that he wanted to play something else, but I did not know it. It was bothering him that much. I just thought it was funny that I said it, right? Or I didn't even know his parents pressured him on getting a real job. So you think you're making connections with the player, but you're missing the complete person behind it. Right? That is the difference. And you think in the moment where you're laughing and hanging out and talking about, clips and funny memes, you think you are close until you know you are not close at all. And usually that happens when the pressure starts to build up, something is at stake, especially at the higher level tournaments, and, things can go to shit pretty quickly. Now, just like a quick check-in with you guys. Am I talking like super out of the blue here? Is it like complete new, or like is this what usually going on? Like if you've been around in esports, or am I just like, yeah, makes sense, very common. This happens for sure. Okay. Yeah, I agree with the surface relationships. Yeah, straight on. Happened in my last team, right? This is what I started to see now as a coach, but didn't notice as a player, right? But then now like this is a problem, but then we'll move into like how can we solve this. But it's important to build up the mental framework. Like if I would literally only teach you like, okay, but this is how you do it, you would not understand it. You will not see the value. You will not see like the impact it has. So I have to build up like basically the story with what it is and what it isn't for you to understand and really feel like, yes, this is necessary for me to level up and change. So the shift that you want to make as a coach or a player is like being interested is far from the same as being invested. So for example, I think 2 weeks ago, like G2, you guys know, like the big European organization, G2, this is League of Legends team. So what they did, because they didn't have any roster changes, right? And it can be feeling like redundant or just like not special at all. You don't have the honeymoon weeks, at the beginning of the season. So they had to figure out and really, learn more on a deeper level what drives them. So they did really nice thing, like literally invested because, so many dinners that they had to go. So every single player had to have one dinner with other person. So that's basically per person of the staff and player. They needed to have like 9 or 10 dinners with people in just like 2 weeks, right? So every day they went out for dinner. And it's not like for the surface level, like because you're in a one-on-one setting, of course that allows, but of course like it's like don't just hang out, but talk about the game, like talk about the personal life, talk about all the deeper things, you know, to really build this deepened relationship, because they know as a high performance, you know, team that it's not about like the next strategy. It's about that trust-based relationships, that they can trust each other and also feel connected as human beings towards each other. So one of the tactics that might be like, oh my God, is it, right? You are here to learn, right? And if you already feel like, okay, I already know, what is it? You okay, Aaron? If you can mute yourself. Merci. So it might be like, oh, I ask open questions. I know what open questions is. Like, this is what I learned in my university. Well, again, what you know and what you understand to be true is not the same as able to apply it. So if you feel like your brain is already like, oh, I already know what this is about, I already know what I can do, just tell your brain right now, view it as if it's the first time ever and be like, oh my God, is this a thing? Because that will help you forward. Because if you just think like, okay, I already know this, you will not progress because you will not implementing it, right? That's the thing. So asking open questions are the tactics, but we will dive into more detail. So, and the opposite is basically closed questions, which can be answered with a simple yes or no. Basically, there's no depth to it. So just like the basics, if you've never seen it, great. But you, of course, like I just said, like it's all the first time for everyone. So open questions starts usually with these words: why, how, what, where, who. Right? And if you're looking for like advanced things, it can be like, explain to me how, and then one of these words will add on to it like halfway the sentence. But these are like the basics, so you understand what are open questions. And honestly, we ask these questions as coaches way too few. And many times coaches just provide more solutions than asking questions. But believe me when I say the best coaches, the greatest coaches ask more questions than providing answers. That is what they do. So here are some open questions, and I divided them basically in 3 levels. So you go from like the hobby and a little bit deeper towards really deep questions. And then we will also be practicing a little bit like within this group. So just think about this, like, what is your favorite moment in esports so far? Like these, you can say like surface level things. What player do you look up to? Who's your favorite like person? Why? And how do you prepare mentally before a game? Or how do you deal with a bad game or practice? But then if you move one layer deeper, a different set of questions. When do you feel most confident and why? Now you might already think like, you need to reflect and honestly think about like why what kind of answer you will give. Because yeah, when am I actually confident? Or at what moment did you almost quit esports? So that emerges maybe a probing questions of like, maybe you were doubting yourself or like doubting the esports ecosystem or anything like that. Like, or what is your biggest weakness as a teammate or not a player? So it's not like your gameplay, but like, what do you think your biggest weakness is? And then it's like, oh, I kind of need to be, this is a vulnerable question. Maybe it's like how I communicate, maybe my positivity, my criticism or anything like that. Like who outside of esports is pushing you the most? Or even deeper questions like, what do you want people to say about you when you're gone? How do you feel about belonging to this team? Or what is it that you feel you are still hiding as a player? Like, what is your unlocked potential? Like, we see this side of you basically 24/7, but what did we still feel like that is untapped inside of you? And where are you in 3 years and how does success look like? Like, these are getting really into the deep conversations that you can then weave in more deeper questions. And once you go from green, orange to red, if you understand that flow and really to go deeper and deeper with these players that you work with as a coach or as a player for your coach or your other players, this is where the deep trust relationship built. And you feel like, oh, but this is not efficient. Let's play another ranked. Well, at the end of the day, would you rather build a deep trust, based relationship in just like 3 hours of conversations with your players, or play 3 extra ranked matches together, right? There's a big difference in value. Of course, it needs to be in balance. Of course, practice is important, but these are the different makers. But this is for sure simple, but simple doesn't mean it's always easy, right? Because it can be easy to understand, easy to know, but not always easy to actually use these things. So what we will do, just like I do with Next Level Esports and basically all trainings, I give a little bit of theory, create the mindset, the frames and everything like that, and then we will use it or lose it. Even though you feel like, oh, this is a silly, simple exercise, just asking a question and answering. Well, just do it, right? Because I know for a fact that most coaches that I've seen are not asking such questions. So why not practice it to maybe feel a little bit more comfortable to actually take this with you, and tomorrow or tonight you will actually ask a few of these questions and then hit me back with what the result is once you build those deep trusted relationship. It will be life-changing. So what we will do with like whoever wants to participate, please do. And I need at least, like 3-4 people, maybe 5. Unless you really, really don't want to. So please unmute yourself in terms of like your microphone if you want to participate. Please do. That will help you a lot. And basically step 1, the first person starts with the green question. Then the one who gets the question will then answer it and then ask someone else an orange question, and then that person will ask a red question, and then we cycle back through, so we all get a little bit of that experience going on. So with that being said, who wants to participate, or are you guys scared to make a mistake? I'm good to do it. All right, Silver is there. I also see Paint. Yeah, for sure. Amazing. All right, that's the mindset. Use it or lose it. So let's just, yeah, for sure. All right, Ducky, let's go. Unmute yourself. So we all know who is available, basically. No, it's all good. The English is good. So let's just say. So Silver, you were the first one to respond. So for you, you can ask any question to basically Ducky or Paint that is in the green. Sure. They will answer it, truly from the heart, and then they will be prompting an orange question to the next person, and then the red question, right? So we understand a little bit how this goes and how we can influence and do stuff and be invested into people. So off you go.
I will ask Ducky because I have a previous relationship with Pint, so I think it would be better for to get to know new people. But so Ducky, do you have a player or even a coach? Like what player or coach do you look up to? Do you have anyone like
that? Short answer is no. I don't really have anybody I look up to in the esports world.
Okay.
All right.
What about sports world? Do you have like a American football or a basketball coach or a player or even like I don't know, maybe it was your like PE teacher? I don't know.
I mean, it's really the same answer. But if I had to choose somebody, it would probably be Nick Saban of Alabama.
Okay, Alabama, yeah, cool.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, no, this is already fine. Like for this exercise, this is fine. But we also understand like you can ask more questions and to probe. So now, Ducky, it's up for you. I know you're on mobile. Can you see the questions that are orange that you can ask?
Work on it. All right.
And then you can ask Paint, for example, or B9. He's also participating. Or Kamaz, but Kamaz, then unmute yourself so I know you are available.
Okay. Paint. I guess I got you. Interesting one. When would you say your strength turns into your weakness?
I think kind of going back to the influencing part, I think I have a good feeling for other people's emotions and just a general like good social feeling for people. But because of this, I don't often, or like often, I notice myself trying to use it on people while they don't ask for it, I'd say. Like, not in the right time. I notice that someone, for example, is not feeling motivated, or they're feeling very tired, or maybe sad about something. And then I bring it up to them without like them giving a sign that it's the right time for me to bring it up. Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
So it now this is a little bit of like a meta perspective that I brought in. So when you look at these questions, the difference already can be noticed by the length of the answer. Like the answer already in itself of like these deeper layer questions require more context from a person to reflect, to think about, and how it is applied. So Paint already gave quite a substantial amount of context to paint a picture. What type of person, he is. So with that context already, that is, you can latch on from so many different angles and probe even more deeper. Because maybe Ducky, when you receive like your answer, like when you received that answer, what were you basically thinking, or were you thinking in the first place?
So my immediate thought was, I want to know more. Like when you give a answer with that substantial amount of context, the first reaction I have is, what do you mean? I need you to be a little more elaborate. Right? Because I'm not going to fully understand what it is that you're saying until I get more information, right? I don't know how to work with you unless I have that information, and that's a two-way street for me. If people don't know how to understand me, they're going to have a hard time working with me. If I don't know how to understand them, I'm going to have a hard time working with them. So my first reaction is to get more information and ask more questions.
Right. Exactly. Right. And you're slowly building up this picture that makes you be able to be effective. So now, like when you ask these questions, like, of course you can sit down and, grab your pen and paper, open up a document, and you can write it down. But like, I hope you guys understand and a little bit of like the dynamic of like how they answer it, and also like some hesitation that you can basically hear them think or reflect on like how they are as a person. Eventually, people like to talk about themselves, right? How they show up. And it is a great thing that to understand, like if you ask like good questions, you will get good answers. And from good answers, you are, pushed to learn even more about it, or like to clarify and stuff. And that will give you the munition, the ammo to build those deeper layers and to build the trust and to really go into vulnerability. So really great. So Paint, it's up to you, like to ask a red question to either Kamas or B9.
Let's do
or
Kamas.
Silver. Yeah, for sure.
What is a moment in your life that has stuck with you, and why?
Good question. I think definitely when I was younger, when I would play like competitive games with my friends, I was always the one that would get picked last to go on a team. And I think that pissed me off. Like, it didn't piss me off, it made you feel so little. So going into more esports and going into more competitive games or chess, I wanted to try be the best out of my friendship. And I think that could be like a no, not a self-conscious thing, like a self underbelief thing. So from that, I would always try push myself, and I always be my worst enemy kind of, because I would always be like, oh, well, there's always someone better than you. And that's kind of a good thing in my mindset, but also a bad thing, because it can be a lot worse on yourself. Like, you could have days where you want to do so much, you want to train every day, and you want to learn as much as you can, but also days where you're exhausted and you're constantly beating yourself up because you're not doing as much. And I think that was when I was like belittled years and years ago when I was little, and it's all brought up when I got older. Like the full mindset from when you're younger to you're older now, and just because of little things where what people would say or what people would do and things like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, Payne, when you asked this question, did you expected such an answer?
I hoped for it, but it's always hard to, because I don't know you at all, right? To feel how deep you want to go. That's why I like the question, because people can go as deep as they want, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hoped for it.
Yeah. And based on this information, what would you do as a coach differently based on this? Like, he's a player, I know that, like a Valorant player. But if you were his coach, or like within his team or in his environment, how would you handle this or use this information to positively influence him and the team?
I think the first step that's always important is, once you know something like this, you try and start noticing it in patterns. So like in his like when he's playing and stuff, see when this mindset comes up. And if there's maybe certain situations where it comes up, maybe it comes up more in official games and not as much in scrims, something like this. So start recognizing patterns in this, and now because you know a reason for X, you can start recognizing it, and then start communicating with him about how can we use this as a strength, right? Because I think there's a lot of strength in this, but I think if, as you said, like if you're too hard on yourself, it can bring you down as well. So just start noticing it, and then start communicating with the player, like how can we use the positive sides of this and not let it be a weakness, basically, or a problem.
For sure. So what you're noticing, like in terms of like a meta perspective, you see the potential associations it will have in terms of like the impact of gameplay, communication, and all of those layers, right? That is sort of what you're saying. So since it's such a rooted like feeling or belief inside of him, it can impact really, so much. And when we're just talking about like these theoretical frameworks, like how to increase motivation or how to communicate better through like these perfect frameworks, there could be very much likely be situations where it won't work because we don't understand these, deeper layered dynamics of players who are inside the team. And that's why, again, these deeper layered questions are important to ask, right? Let's do one more and then we move on to the next one. So Kamaz, it's up to you. I think B9 is still available, or you can ask it also to Silver, but B9, then we hear him as well with this beautiful baguette accent.
Are you wanting me to ask?
Yeah, you can choose. Do you want? Yeah,
anything?
no, just ask one question as well, and you can choose whether you ask a green, orange, or a red question, basically in terms of depth to B9.
For B9, I would like to know what made you go into esports and not normal sports.
Okay. Like, I made a lot of normal sports like football in the past, and now I'm trying to involve myself in combat sports. So I always make competition when I was doing sports in the past. Always. I never did a sport without any aspect of competition, of just wanna enjoy like myself with some friends, or something like this. Yeah, there were some moments like I was enjoying myself. I don't care about the competition aspect, but I have to have some competition aspect when I do something, and that's why like I'm so interested about esports, because firstly I'm always behind my PC. This is maybe something that should um, not not like simply to hear, but for me to be behind my PC and like do just nothing and look other people's um uh, grind on their side and be a better version of themselves. Like I just want to compete with them and be the better version of myself too. Why esports? No, because like I said, for me, esports is it's the future. It's something that we all have to look at. With all the new technology appearing, etc., etc., and because like since my 13 or 14 years, like I was playing on PS4 at Fortnite, like everybody, and I just like want to do some competition. There were, I remember, open competition for everybody, and I was like just a normal guy who want to be the best versus other players who were sorry better than me. And with the time growing and my mentality changing, like I take like all the part of it and I put it in me. And yeah, when I was growing, I don't know why, but I love the aspect of the tactical aspect, uh, all of that stuff. I love like the competition, like I said, and I think that's why I prefer esports uh, uh, than just like playing a game and uh, being like a casual on the game. Yeah, playing like a casual on the game. That's why I prefer esports than playing like a casual on the game. And because this is something that is in me. Like the competing aspect, I always got it. I don't know from who, but I always got it, and yeah.
I get that. Thank you.
All right. So
Sorry
now,
for
like a B9, like and just like open and transparent, right? We're here to learn. So also like for this, like sometimes like B9, that was a really long answer to say like you like the competition part and that is different, right? That you feel like it's your authentic thing. Now it's a thing like it's okay, you have to organize your thoughts, but I'm now trying to ask Kamaz, like this was quite a long answer. How do you deal with it? How would you deal with this? Because if it's your teammate, like you can zone out, but how would you actually use this in terms of like to create a connection instead of disconnect?
What I would do, like try to do, is during the call or anything that we're going through, I'd have a note up and then write down key information that they're going for. And so, like, for example, if I can remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but with B9, his goal was that he knew that esports was the future. He knew that esports was going forward, and you can use that as motivation for him and try to give him a bigger, like when we're heading down a dark road or when we're doing badly in a game, we could be like, oh, just imagine what we can come up to, imagine what it's going to be like, since he's already using his, like, already imagining what the future is going to be like for esports. You could use that in other areas, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, for sure. So you're using his motivation to fuel that. Like you're like feeding it. You're watering that motivation with the future of esports and like that. Exactly. So even though like whatever it is, how you perceive it, you have to like understand like what are you using out of it. So that's really important. I hope you didn't mind B9 to put you on the spot like that, but I thought it was like a teaching moment. Are you okay still?
Yeah. No problem with that. It's just my accent and my English level. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
it's okay. You're
that-
trying to find the words. Like I have no
Yeah.
doubt that in French it will be like baguette, and then
Yeah.
you're done. All right, amazing. All right. So with that being said, we have covered it. So to finalize the first secret, this could help you. So this could be maybe a moment where at the end where the full matrix is filled, you want to create a screenshot or take some notes or whatever. But I suggest just take a screenshot. So here, if you have low quality questions and a low quantity of questions, so let's say you ask one question with the intent to ask more questions, but the answer is like low quality and you disconnect. Excuse me. How can you ever grow to a deep, trusted relationships, right? You're not there to be interested, right? Being interested into people from the mentality, you can say is selfish, is egotistical. To be invested means like no matter what the other person will say, whether I like it or not, I want to understand him in the best way possible, to feed his motivation, to feed his drive, to understand in the best way possible. But if you only stick with low quality questions and low quantity of questions, you will be for sure in just 1 week already disconnected. Like, that's not really a person I can connect with or even play with. That is your 100% responsibility because you now know you have influence over that. Or what if the quality of questions is low, but your quantity of questions is, high? That means you got a lot of questions like, what are your hobbies? Like, is your favorite food? Like, maybe who's like your favorite player? If it doesn't surpass basically that level of depth. So it means the relationship becomes shallow, lots of question and interaction, but nothing deep or meaningful noise without progress. But if you have a lot of quality questions, but you only ask them basically once a week or maybe once a month, even though they are the perfect questions, like you get a 10 plus for this exercise because you ask one or two deep going and deep layered questions. That means players are getting reserved, right? It's rare that they get a meaningful question and they want to think things through and they will think deeply, but honestly, underneath the surface, it stays locked. Their heart stays locked with less vulnerability and not 100% answers because your frequency of asking questions is not regular. It's not frequent. So when you ask it once a month or maybe only on the bootcamp or only thing, sometimes it can work, but there's also some distance still. Even though you get much deeper, which is better than these two, but you get reserved. But then, of course, like why we are here, to get into the trust zone where you have deep questions, know how to build them up, and also ask the right amount regularly to keep checking in, to go deeper, to understand each other on a deeper level. Often real bonds form here. Whether you like that person or not on a personal level, you understand what they go through, their life, the whole being, their whole family situation perhaps, or their relationship, or like their deepest fears, or whatever it may be. And that builds deep layers of trust that make the team grow and unlocks their full potential. Because when you are doing that mid-round call or under pressure, that is when that other person just knows he can trust on you. Not on a gameplay level, but on a personal, deep-rooted trust level. And that is what all makes a difference, to genuinely trust. Think about it as in being in war, being in the trenches and bullets and, explosions are around. You want to be with people that you fully 100% trust, that when they say stand up and sprint, that you are able to follow that and do it. That is the difference. A question from Silver. He's saying, would you say that these questions should primarily be done in a full team setting or in a one-on-one setting first, and then there maybe be possibility to do it as a team later? It all starts in the one-on-one. Yes, you're correct. It's one-on-one. Good question. There could be moments when you go into boot camps or, have these multiple conversations with other people. Then you can also bring it into the team because everyone sort of knows their vulnerability or their sides or have shared, big parts of the story. And the more you invite teams and also share your own personal vulnerabilities to be human, right? You're not perfect as a coach as well, right? I for sure am not. The more vulnerable you are and the more you invite and you create the space to be open, the more people will share. And that creates a trust on the team level. Yeah. So let's dive immediately into core secret number 2 to become more influential in teams. And this is an interesting part. Maybe you've thought of like, okay, these open questions, like, I get that, like, I can ask more questions or whatever. Okay, but here is something that I for sure know that you didn't know. That's why it's a secret number 2. So here's the next mistake when we want to go from surviving to thriving into a team. The mistake that many players and coaches make. And that is to think subconsciously or even consciously when something happens like, it's not really my place to influence the team dynamic. That's the coaches, the captains, the IGLs, the players, the other, like it's a manager's job to take care of this. I'm just going to control myself and not try to mingle and interfere with everyone else's responsibilities or tasks. Well, that will be an error if you actually want to make it into esports towards the highest levels, because you need to take charge. You need to take 100% responsibility to make it to the top, right? So it's just like the metaphor, maybe similar to the domino effect. You see stuff happening. Maybe the manager is late with his contracts and you're just like, yeah, well, it can happen. I understand. Or it should be the coach's job to hold this other player who's slightly toxic accountable, but he doesn't. And you just let it slip. So there's a small fire burning in the basement. This is your team. And this is like the subconscious things. Like you feel like, that's not really, really nice. And you just look it through the fingers, right? The Dutch saying. And it grows. So you neglect it, you ignore it, and it grows and it grows. And all of a sudden, boom, 4 weeks later, 1 month later, maybe 2 weeks later, your whole team is on fire. That is what's going on simply because you thought it's not my responsibility. I'm just going to control myself because that's comfortable. Well, good luck in esports and reaching the top, because all of the players, you know that these top players all have like a slight ego issue. Right? They have a strong opinion. That is because they took 100% responsibility and will not take no for granted. They keep on showing up. They call bad behavior out. They influence others, right? Sometimes controlling, right? Just like Michael Jordan did and like all these other professional players as well. But also a big chunk is it like influence it. And it's like, you think it starts with just one thing, you're like, I let it slip. But it is these big things, the small things are the big things, and the big things are the small things in coaching. So now I want you to think about, remember the times where one person stood up and shifted the energy of the whole team or group. Maybe you just have, one example or one lived experience yourself. Maybe in esports, maybe in traditional sports, maybe in your own home, your household, maybe in your friends group where just one stands up like, guys, what the fuck are we doing? And then shifts the energy. That is the type of influence that we want to have, right? So we want to be, really be able to shift that energy. But the question is, which I understand that you have right now, is like, but when can you stand up and influence, and in what way? So let's dive into it. So just like a rhetorical question to put you into right frame of thought, to become aware of phases of teams. So when we're thinking about conflicts, issues, frustrations, and distractions, when they are more likely to happen in week 1 of being together or week 8 being together in a team. So use the chat, right? Simple, easy peasy, rhetorical question. I know that you know the answers, but it's time to interact. It's time to participate. It's time to use it or lose it. Week 1 or week 8? Week 8. Yeah. Yeah. 8. Yep. Yep. Everyone is happy. Yeah, conflicts will always happen regardless of time, and it comes from the gaps in perception of players. Week 1, it sounds like, I love it. This is the best place I've never been. And week 8 sounds like this is a routine, etc. I have, down, so I don't like him. It depends on how early you catch it, of course, right? It's about catching the fire, right? Putting out the fire as soon as possible when you see the first signs. I would say it's going to be more intense. The little things have chipping away at trust and looking at the Velja crowning situation, for example. Yeah, for sure. That's a League of Legends high conflict, high energy type of thing. And week 8, everyone starts to see the imperfections of everyone else but himself. They're not good but me. I'm working on me and improving. I'm human. Yeah, for sure. Controlling yourself. Yeah. And here Yamao failed here, and this is why it shows importance. Yep, for sure. So, for sure. So maybe some of you have already seen this graph. Like, these are like the 5 stages of team development of Bruce Tuckman, if you ever heard of it. If not, I'm not gonna dive into it, but it's just like to explain to you like the fundamental, like the common progression of any team in esports, or just like any group dynamic in human history. So in the beginning, we have the honeymoon phase, right? The forming phase. Everyone feels like happy, like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Like, we're so happy, we're so motivated. Like, oh, what do you like? What is your play style? Like, oh, I want to learn with you. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Like, we're so kind to each other, almost artificially fake. But then after maybe 1 or 2 weeks, it's like, I noticed we are not really aligned as I thought it was, or I see some player, slipping his mistakes, or maybe not really, holding his accountability, or the coach is slipping away in terms of quality, but we're not mentioning anything. We see it through the fingers, right? Denial. And then because of that, it just gets worse because we're not confronting each other. And all of a sudden there's outbursts like, why are you not playing like this? We already talked about this. Yeah, but I have a different opinion, like blah, 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 blah. This is a storming phase. You recognize this when they're starting to talk behind each other's back. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially when you're a coach and you've been coaching a team and you ever had conflict. You know that players will DM you. You'll be talking individually in one-on-one with them. Like, I don't really like how he's behaving. Can you change something? Can you help me? Like, can you do something? Like, then you know you're in the storming phase. But then it even gets worse, even though you try to consolidate and bring it together, but there's fear like, oh my God, this is rock bottom. Can we actually do this? Like, I don't know what to do. But eventually you all come clean. That means like, okay, this is just reality. Like everything is like out in the open. There are no hidden agendas anymore. If we want to succeed or do anything, we have to do X, Y, and Z. This is the system that we follow. Even though we not all like this, this is how we should, structure it and commit to it. And then you have some negotiation, and that brings in a little bit of energy. And all of a sudden, okay, this is how we do it. And then, boom, we finally found each other. The synergy starts to get there. Even though they might not be perfect, it feels a little bit artificial, but we get it to acceptance. Maybe there's some final confrontation like, okay, we're doing great, but this still needs to be fixed. Okay, this is XYZ solution to do so. And then we reach the connection that we all crave for. And after the connection, we get into the zone because we know each other. Like, we've been together for a long time. This is also part of the trust-based relationship. But at the end of the season, players get rolled out into different other teams. And then it's basically the adjourning phase, so new beginning. So basically the whole cycle starts anew. And no matter if the coach only changes or only one player changes, it doesn't matter. The whole cycle starts anew because it creates a completely, psychological shift in dynamic. Right? So how do the teams stay on top, right? There's some human laws of nature, how you can say players work, and it's never just like one straight line to the top. Actually, the truth is the best teams have regular conflicts, but it's how they handle conflicts or prevent conflicts in the first place. And when there is conflicts, that they use those moments to not go into arguing, just like Crowny and Valia, right? They went to rock bottom from denial all the way to here to rock bottom, but to handle that like professionals and pros, right? There's more to it, but there's one particular thing that I would like to, share with you. That is basically the core of the, the secret, you can say. But just to check in with you, like, does it sound familiar? Like when I'm talking through this model, like, do you recognize yourself or your experience as well? Like, yeah, 100%. Right, so Marlon recognizes, Silver recognizes, yeah, for sure. Right, so I'm not talking out of my neck, right? These are real, like, models that try to reflect reality in the best way possible. Right, for now, I'm just in the first part. I will eat the storm. Yeah, no worries. It's a silence before the storm. So, but become aware of these phases. You can help influence the team in a positive way. And it's about shifting the energy and focus while staying largely positive. Now, let me just show you this link. I will just use it here. This is on X, on Twitter, so I hope every one of you has Twitter. And just watch this clip, right? Just watch this clip, and this is how you can influence. So this is a captain, for sure. He has years of experience, but this is the type of moment where you feel like one player is talking, and then the captain is able to shift the energy while staying largely positive. So I will let it run, or you guys can check it by yourself, and I'll just take 1 minute, because I think it's like a 1 minute, because you will not hear this because this is basically my webcam, but it's a 1 minute clip. So simply watch the 1 minute clip, put your sound on, and then you understand what we were about to do and how you can do that as well, being a captain or a person of influence in any team at any given moment. Now, this is like a good demonstration how being influential in a team looks like. But then how can you do that effectively, right? Because you don't have 10 years of experience as this captain inside the team. So you have to approach it differently to do this quicker, faster, and maybe even better. So let me know if you played it and watched it. Right, really good clip. Yeah, sure, all good. 15 seconds left. So waiting a couple more just for people to catch up if they happen to watch it or watching it. Just like to see. So Silver, right? You're still unmuted, right? You're here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what did you see in this clip? Like, what is your perspective, like, or in terms of like, what did you learn? How did you experience seeing something like this?
Well, as I said in the chat, like, the first thing is the coach saying, "I still think we can win," and then immediately what happens is Jojo, the guy on the right hand side, not in the picture but with the dark hair, he says, like, "I still have my plan," and blah 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 blah, but it feels like he's really demotivated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Alyoya catches this and immediately addresses it and says, "Sorry to interrupt." He's basically just saying, "I'm not gonna let you spiral into this like defeatist mindset." And then he tries to like kick everyone in the ass on the rest of the team to say like, "Yo, you can do this better. We can do this better. I don't care if you don't have an idea. you have to be confident. Like, if somebody calls something, just go. And I think it was a really good way to like inject energy into the team and make everybody feel like he is addressing somebody's demotivation, and he's also injecting energy into the team, and he is also saying that he can do things better as well. So it was really good to hear from him.
Right. So that is like the demonstration, and now let's dive into how you can be a person like Elyoya as well, because that's why we're here, right? But it requires, you can help influence the team in a positive way, but it requires preparation, because the reality is, once you're in this shit and you're halfway in the best of 5 in game 4 or game 5, just, in the grand final, and you've never done this before, and you're under pressure, you're fucked. You're too late. So it requires preparation. And that is a good thing that we can prepare, because, we are trying to be professional people, right? So we can do that. But first, in order to prepare, you want to have some form or level of standards, what you expect of other players and the staff in terms of behavior and standards. So think about you working with other players or with other staff. What behaviors and standards do you have of these people? So what kind of environment do you want to build? What is the standard or expectations that you have for the place that you will be operating in to be your best self? Just a couple of quick words, or like what kind of standards you want. How would you shape your environment? If you can decide today, like for the rest of the split or the next team I will coach, I want this environment. This is what I expect of others. Yeah, not just rule, but agreements. Creates the correct expectation and agreements between all. Okay. Motivating, open, and honest. You want the players to be that. 100% of what they give every day. People who respect their words and ambitions. People who don't lie to themselves. Right? Expect motivation and that all players are open to learn new things and adapt to the coach's IGL. All right. Now you have got these expectations set out. On standards and behavior, you will want to link that to common scenarios and prepare your reactions. It's just sometimes as artificial or simple as that. So prepare your reactions, and the preparation is so important because you cannot wing this. You cannot improvise this on the spot when you're down 2-0, under pressure, everyone, like the emotions are running wild. Because you simply don't have time to properly think about it in the best way possible. Yeah, I like that, Axel. Take 100% responsibility with everything. That's it. So in order to think about this before you prepare, not always you are maybe not the person that feels comfortable to, like Elyoya in this example of the clip that I sent, to be comfortable in a team setting or a public team setting. But therefore prepare what is more comfortable for you in a team setting and or maybe a one-on-one setting. Are you maybe a person that just slides into the DM and you're just like, hey guy, let's talk, like I want to say this, or like I think you can, like, or just like a short message or anything, like a comment, or just drag them towards a different channel like, hey man, let me just talk to you. Is that more comfortable to you or more in team setting or just both? It depends who you are as a person and how you want to show up and what you feel comfortable with. So now the next step is think about moments that frustrated you. What would be the best way to respond to help the team progress in a more positive way? So let's, for example, you're in a competition tournament, you're 2-0 down, and one is starting to say like give up, like I'm not sure, like what can I do? What can I do? I'm not sure. I think it's a loss. Like at that moment, you might run your emotion like, what are you saying? Like, shut up, we can do it. Like, but what would be the best way to respond in such moments? Because some moments are just always going to be there. So it's like, how do you want to respond towards your team when you win? What would be the best possible response that you can give? How can you instill that confidence or influences for your team when they succeed, when they go above and beyond themselves? Do you just then say like, yeah, good job, guys, and then you mute and be silent? Is that an influential person? Like that changes and shifts his energy to say just good job? Or what is your best way possible to show up, and when it happens, that you can give a really good answer? And also when we lose, what would be the best way possible? Or when others are negative during practice or doing scrims or doing officials, when maybe others are distracted, on their mobile phone. Just like, when you're doing the review, like what the hell's going on? You can get frustrated, but what would be the best possible response? When others get angry, others don't believe it can be won, or others, other gameplay scenarios. Now, this sounds again so redundant or so simple. But again, simple is not easy. No one does this. Only the greatest do this intuitively based on 10 years of experience. But I promise you this, if you make a short list on how you want to react based on like your expectations and behavior and what you want to give in terms of like the most best positive outcome and most positive intention when you win or when you lose, that feels genuinely like you, that is when you start to influence and not let your emotions take over. And that is the moment where you can take fully 100% accountability, that you can actually say, I tried. And at this moment, and that's why I build it up with all of these different mindset and tools, when you are here in this moment, aware of this exercise, and I promise you this will happen in the next in this team, next moment, next competition, it will always be the case. And now you never have an excuse to not show up with your best responses. And the thing is, it's not like a big exercise that you have to think, 3 business days to make a list. It's literally maybe just half an hour, maybe not even, like when you have enough with a few words. But prepare. Come prepared to your team and be the influential, energy shifting person that your team needs to really take your future into your own hands and be fully in control. I can share this presentation. Yeah, sure. I will post a PDF here in the end. So I want you to write down basically, let's say 1 or 2 situations right now that you really want to prepare and how you will respond. Because in a moment we will practice that. So just like you can do the rest in your own time, right? But we just want to get that, muscle going. Use it or lose it. Even though you know what to do, you know what the effect is, and you understand the power of it, it's all useless information if you're not acting it out. Information is cheap, transformation is valuable. And I as a coach and you as a coach are not in the information business. We are in the transformation business. So only when we can affect each other's behavior or influence each other's behavior, that is when we do our job right. If I just give some couple of tips and you're not doing anything, I might feel great, like, oh, they took notes and, got a lot of tips, but it doesn't mean anything if you guys are not feeling like, I'm actually going to implement it. So that's on me. That's my responsibility. That's my 100% responsibility. Then I didn't do a good enough of a job. Whether that's true or not, that keeps me in control. Yeah. When players are coming to practice or official games with negativity or they are not 100% bought in. For sure. And then the thing is, like, how do you want to positively influence that in terms of like that? It doesn't mean like you have to sugarcoat things, but that is the thing. Yeah, artistic. That is what we are doing. Too many coaches just focus on the X's and O's, like, oh, here's a solution towards this gameplay. Oh, you should watch this, like, oh, this is the right information to solve this. And then be frustrated that the players are not doing what they said that the coach said. Because it's not about the information that you give, it's about the transformation. It's really like, how do you help them understand and put it into practice in a way that helps them, that is meaningful for them. And once you get that right, you get into like the university of coaching. So yeah, a couple of people are typing. Of course, the rest is, like doing a lot of hard work to take on notes and do this like on the side, in shadows. Their own Google Docs. All right, throw a white flag. Like a literal or like a digital flag, or like... All right. That we have to achieve. Right, when others are described, remember the goal that we have to achieve. Other don't believe, or how they're going to believe at a higher level if they can believe in theirs. Yeah, I call it out. Okay. So with those things, let's see if he can practice. Right. So this is also another super basic feedback thing, which lends itself perfectly for this exercise. But even though you have learned about the hamburger model, like, oh yeah, I know this, like, but do you actually use it, coach? Do you actually use it in the way it needs to be used? Or do you just say what's on your mind when you give feedback, right? That is, again, the difference. So, feedback to communicate better. This is called the hamburger model, one of the most simplistic and basic things to give feedback. So basically, you start off, when you want to call out someone or, be influential, start with something positive, connect with them, like don't burn them to the ground immediately, right? You want to create the best possible outcome. Then step number 2 is, like, that's the hamburger part, the meat part. Give your feedback, whether that's, criticism for something you want them to improve and on what you would like to see. So it's not just like, oh, you suck, you should fix this, but also say what you would like to see. That is really crucial in this step. Not just like say what's wrong or what's good, but also what you want to see next, whether that's to continue with this behavior or the behavior that you want to see. Then you have your feedback, and then you end with something positive. So what is some easy, simple example? So first, let's say an influencing scenario, example number 1. So step number 1 is to start with something positive. For example, I love that you're so passionate and vocal about improving, right? Step 2, your feedback on what you would like to see. So I love that you are so passionate and vocal about improving. But when you're constantly mentioning mistakes, my confidence eventually starts to drop. So I would like you to also to mention the things when me and other teammates do well. Can you add that as well? Can you do that for me or for us? Right? So you explicitly say what you want from that player, that person, how you want them to behave in a positive way. And then you are for sure right on, these mistakes that you call out, and with just a slightly shift in energy, I know we both get what we want. Win more games and keep enjoying the process. So instead of only focusing like, come on guy, like, do you only like want to focus on mistakes? Like it's not only bad, like we also do something well. Yeah, but like I'm so passionate, like I really want to improve, like you guys suck so much. Like you're trying to basically rage bait the conflict, and most people are stuck in step number 2. That's why like the whole Velja and like Crowny thing is also like a thing. Like they are stuck on the criticism and feedback and trying to challenge each other. Horrendous. So another example, to get this down into something more of a positive way. Something positive. I just wanted to say how happy I am with you being my teammate, when they performed really well. The way you have shown this past week, and you being vocal in the team, really made a difference. You inspire me as well to continue to do my best and show up in the best way. When we continue putting in the effort like this, I know we can do amazing things together. Now, when you honestly reflect back, when was the last time you genuinely complimented something on a deeper level based on their effort and the way they showed up? Because all of the time, 99% of our brain and what we do is focusing on mistakes. So much that we don't see the good in people. But imagine you will get this response from one of the players. Like, I'm so I'm so happy that you are my coach, man. The way you have prepared your, the sessions this past week and also today, and you being vocal in the team, really made a difference. You inspire me as well to continue to do my best and show up in the best way possible for you and the team. And I just know, when you keep continuing doing and putting in the effort and we do it like this, I know we can do amazing things together. Imagine a player would say this. Imagine a player would say this to you. You'll be like walking around with a big smile for the next 2 months already. So much impact does it have when you know how to influence people. And if you do this consistently, how can you not be invited to the next team? To be the great coach, to build those deep trust relationships, to really get that performance and unlock that potential. Because this is the simple things make the difference. Right, Payne says, the way I learned it is, the feedback is the burger, right? Yeah, the burger needs to be cooked well, otherwise the whole burger isn't tasty. To cook the burger well, your feedback needs to be constructive or it won't stick, fall apart, burn. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's a good metaphor. Exactly, to do so in terms of like to be constructive is like you can you can be direct, and that's why the constructive part is basically step 1. Like, this is also something that you do well. Of course, you're trying to be respectful as possible, not to use toxic language, and also focus the direction of the conversation towards the solution to what you want to see, and that already creates a very good direction in terms of like being constructive, right? Because if you're not, like, you're only using step number 2, it's iffy. All right. So the last exercise of this masterclass, aka workshop, to influence negatives into positives. So what we will do, some of you have written down some scenarios, and I, or maybe someone else, then this can be a little bit artificial and sounds iffy and maybe super weird, and we're like, oh my god, this is so weird, like, oh, so uncomfortable. Use it or lose it, coach. It is these small things that will, because if you're not gonna do it now, when are you actually gonna practice? Because inside real practice, inside your team, other things, other factors, players think you are weird or whatever, and you don't feel confident, and then you completely shut down. So this is exactly the right nudge to get you out of your comfort zone and create this success experience for yourself, so you feel confident to use these skills inside your own environment and coaching skills, or in a coaching scenarios. So what we will do, one or more people will role play one of the common things. So for example, when someone is distracted, the scenario that has been prepared by someone else, and depending on public or the one-on-one influence, the person who prepared the scenario practices his response using the hamburger method. So starting with something positive, then the feedback or like the core, and then finalizing it with something positive again. And after the scenario, you will receive a tip and or a top. So yes, you will get feedback from someone in the group. And now, as I said, that's the thing in terms of like, so B9, like, you're ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so what I will do is I will take the first one on me. Like, I will be the theater guy. Like, I will be distracted. You will see me distracted. Like, we're doing a VOD review, right? You're doing the VOD review and I'm distracted. I'm on my phone, right? And you give your reaction based on how you want to react in the best way possible. So you can think about it. Like, do you have like a sort of like direction how you want to take it to influence this situation into something positive using the hamburger method? Do you have something that you can think of?
Using the hamburger method, maybe something positive like the way how they are focused in the, I don't know, maybe in the prac at some rounds or something when we are reviewing the prac,
Yeah.
the scrim. And with that, I can jump. So on, I don't know if I see him looking at his phone.
Yeah, no,
I
no, no, no. We're not meta doing this. Like, I will
Okay.
be instead of like talking this through, we will act it out, like literally
Okay.
act it out. I will be
Yeah.
the person who's distracted.
Okay.
Like this is how like basic teaching it is. That's how simplistic we get to really the
Okay.
core, and you just respond as if you're literally in your coach role with with the things that we just discussed to
Yeah.
turn this situation into something positive. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just try. You just try, and then you get feedback,
Okay.
and then we move on, and someone else will take the turn.
Okay.
All right. So, I'm distracted. I'm like you see me like I'm scrolling on my phone, like I'm doing stuff.
Hey, Donny.
Go.
Hey,
Yeah,
Donny, what
yeah.
are you doing?
Just quickly checking my phone because I just wanted to post on Twitter after the match, like how it went.
Okay, but it is the time to post after the match. What do you think about that?
Think about that. Like, yeah, like it's fine, right? I always post after the match.
Okay,
or
okay.
Like,
Just like we said before, this is the time to work. There is time to work, and there is time to like chill. Okay. Now it's time to work. So you take your phone, like imagine you are at school because you want to be a professional player at this game, on this game. So think that you are at school, all right? You have to be focused in everything that we do to improve. So you take just your phone, okay? You put it back, you
Yeah.
pull it aside, and after that, you can post your match. Yeah, I win this with my teammates, etc., etc., etc. Okay.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
you got
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I'll do it in a bit.
Like you did in the scream. In the prac, you are not looking at your phone. Okay, you are focused in the game. Okay, because we put rules before. So, like in the prac, like in the scream, vote review is the same. Everything that we do, everything that we are
Yeah.
looking for
No,
people.
I got you. I won't do it. I won't do it. I put it away.
Okay.
I put it away.
Okay, put it away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
I got you. I'm focused. All right. Thank you for like the dialogue. So now I'm inviting others who've witnessed this to give a tip and a top to basically give feedback on how B9 handled this situation. Who wants to jump in and give the tip and top?
I'm up. So I see what you were going for, B9. Right? You want to get the focus of your player in this scenario. The biggest thing that I noticed here, while you are addressing the behavior and you're trying to get your player more focused, being confrontational like that can end very badly if your player isn't in the best of moods, right? And the way I see it is, if a player's already distracted, you've already lost a player. So a good way to get the player reined back in is like, for instance, like, hey, I know we're not playing the game right now, and this is more of a more relaxed environment compared to scrims or anything else. But I'd like your attention on what we're doing in case you see something that I miss. Right? That's a really good way to recall your player's attention onto the task at hand without confronting them and without getting resistance from them.
Okay, so basically, find something to refocus all of them with my words without being in the confrontation with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The only time I would see you needing to be confrontational is when conflict is getting worse and you start seeing your players going at each other, or you start seeing somebody take jabs at each other. Then I could justify like confrontation. But if it's like one player on their phone and it's a little more of a relaxed environment, and you're trying to go over review and go over, hey, like, this is what I saw in this scrim, right? Being a little less confrontational and being like, hey, I would like a second set of eyes. I know we're relaxing just a little bit, but I would like a second set of eyes in case you catch something that I do not, right?
All
You're
right.
inviting the coach with you.
In order to stay on topic, like I appreciate that you give the feedback and also like give like an alternative. What I would like to in terms of like that helps B9 to think about his coaching, so that's really good. What I want to do is to look back basically on the exercise itself. So we wanted to do two things to like call out the behavior or like handle it in the best way that you think is possible. But the second thing was also like to use the hamburger model. Now, B9, did you use the hamburger model?
I tried to use it, and I don't know honestly, but I think I use it because when I was saying to you, I take like the example when he was in Scream in Prague. How he's
right. So you finished with something positive in order to change that. But did you start off with positive?
No, I didn't start.
Right. Okay. So so you got like halfway, like the middle part, the criticism, right, and the last part you got right. But the first part, for everyone also, this is the most important part, and I think that is what Ducky was referring to. Is like, yeah, you can maybe change it or to be less confrontational. It feels really confrontational to address the behavior because you did not start with the positive side.
Yeah.
Right? So in order for like to give a solution to this, like in this same same example that we've played out, I would start when you ask. I like the question like, hey Donny, like what are you doing? Like just like trying to understand, like, oh, I'm just posting the the results like after the match. Then that would be the cue to listen to me, what I am doing and what is good about it. You can say, for example, I really like appreciate that you are so involved with the organization to share your your results with the people around you. Like that really shows that you are caring and really want to be transparent with the community and stuff. At this moment, we are inside the scrim and I see you being distracted and then you do your thing. Now, the difference in terms of shift is because like I feel seen in that way. You see the difference there?
Yeah.
You connect with me, what I'm doing, and see the good in what I'm trying to do, even though it's not the optimal. But I had a good intention to do so, but you interpreted it and only went past it and only focused on the negative part, like to give the criticism what you don't want me to do, and then to do. So that is a difference. Okay. Yeah?
So take the good even in the bad.
Yeah, if there's something, usually 9 out of 10 times it is worth it to connect with the person, to see that there is something good in the bad that they are doing, because no one does it to do something bad. No one wakes up with the intention like, oh, now I'm gonna be really distracted in this practice today. I can't wait to be distractive and to be disruptive. So everyone tries to be good, but sometimes they just wander off for whatever reason. Right? And that's also your responsibility by rules and agreements. But if this is the case, this is like based on like the exercise and thing, how you will want to handle it, or at least approach it. That would be like non-confrontational and more in the way.
Yeah. Thank you, Ducky, and and Donny, thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure. So we do another one. So who wants to also practice? Because as you can say, like, even though it sounds simple, when you are put on the spot, it can be like challenging. So Axel, you want to go?
Yes, let's try.
Yeah, all right. So what kind of scenario do you want?
Well, you did it like after a match and then we did a review. We can do the same or something else.
No, something else. We pick something else. You want me to think about
maybe,
it like
maybe
for easy,
before a match? Yeah. You think.
Yeah. So like when I go like to this, like I for example, I don't believe it can be won. Right, I will just be the theater person. Like we're 2-0 down into like a best of 5, so there's only one match left. Like things are not really going well, right? And I believe it cannot be won. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can prepare a little bit in your mind in terms of like how do you want to use the hamburger model, what you could potentially say, and when you feel like okay, ready to go, we'll just act it out and see what comes up. Okay.
Okay. Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah. No. Sure. Yeah. Tick-tock on the clock.
I didn't realize we were getting karaoke.
You wanna get berserk tonight? I'm a fight.
Okay. Well, I didn't prepare everything.
Yeah, but you have at least a direction.
Like
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? But it's like you can prepare like the emotion to it, and like okay, I need to use the hamburger model. What is like the thing that I can spot that is good, and what basically is the problem, and how do I want him to act differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So I'm just here like in between the games. I'm like, coach, like I'm sorry, but I just don't think we got it in us today. Like I genuinely believe like with the way we're playing today, I genuinely don't believe it can be won. Like really, I really want to compete hard. I really want to give my best, but it's not in there. It really is not in there today.
Okay. Well, do you remember what you did since today? How we reached all these goals, all the practice we did? Do you remember all of it?
Yeah, from last week. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember the effort that you put? All the trainings and matches we won? And it's okay, sometimes opponents are better, but is it a reason we have to throw everything? We are here, we have to show to everyone that we do our best. We can really make the difference. Even if we lose, we don't care. We care about playing good, be positive, and show.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, okay, I'm out of words now.
Yeah, that's good. Like we're puzzling this together, right? This is really great.
Yeah. Well, sometimes if I know the students well, maybe I can use some memories from the past, or if I know people well, when it's like this, it's kind of okay. I don't know you. I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So, like when we're talking about coaches, the coaching skill, you want it to be present and to be there. So no matter what the person is, it's about like listening and then applying like the hamburger method or something like that and figuring out your way. So even though it's not like a super realistic, like in the moment where you're working with the people that you've known for like weeks already, it's still the same skill. And that's why we do this exercise, right? Because we know how to do it, we understand how to do it, but the application, we want to get success as well, right? So that's why we basically do this, to force ourselves into that uncomfortable situation to see if in such situations we can also apply it. So I think it was a good attempt, definitely. So who wants to give like a tip or a top, something that went good and something that can be improved?
Destroy me.
Destroy me, Papa.
So whenever the player is like, oh god, I don't think we can win, the immediate thing I would say is like, well, obviously we've been trying to like foster this environment of accountability, right? So you're just like, okay, I appreciate that you're sad.
What was sorry, Silver.
Yeah, go
like let's break it down first. Like stay on track. Like what is something that he did well, and something that you think it can improve, and then you can at the end you give your suggestion. But let's stay on topic for the exercise to keep focus.
Yeah, I did the thing that that the first guy did. Anyway, I think that you did well with like being sort of non-confrontational. You were trying to approach the player in a friendly way at least, or coming from a position of understanding that he's maybe upset, or he is he wants to win, but he just doesn't see the path. And I think you did well to approach it from a position of trying to bring back the memories of like, why are we here? Why are we competing? We put all this effort in. Let's go. Let's try and win the next games. What I would say you could have done maybe better is either snap the person out of this like spiraling mentality by like either interrupting like Elioya did in that video, or saying something positive first of all, which is like, okay, you're upset because I appreciate you're upset, or I appreciate you're in this mentality because you want to win, and your passion is creating this like negative feeling for you. I appreciate that. And then you can go into, do you remember how much work we've put in, and how much, like, why we're all here, why we're competing, etc., etc. And then that sort of like positive thing is the tip, or the top, sorry, where you're bringing the player in, you're understanding his position because he's upset, or you're making him feel seen, I guess, as Donny said before. But again, I appreciate like you did well to come at the position from like a friendly mentality, I guess, or trying to understand the player and how you can maybe get him out of that. But I think maybe just the first bit was not there. I'm not sure how to give a tip to that, actually.
No, yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
No, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. So in terms of like what, I agree for the most part with what Silver is saying. Like I think the beginning was, I think for me, like positive enough. Like everyone has like a different approach in terms of like what they think is positive. I at least when I was even acted it out, I felt like, okay, he was really trying to, immediately link towards the effort and stuff that I did. Then you like really mentioned the thing that was going on, and basically like, okay, now we can, we just want to show up and blah, 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 blah. Like that was good. What I was missing was basically the ending for this part. So what was missing in the first part for B9, I was missing now in the ending, because you gave all the right context, but what you forget to do is what you wanted from me, how you wanted me to act. And you want to be explicit, like we can do this, like we can still turn this around, and then you can say something like a bridge of like, so moving in from this now, I want you to you shake it off, shift your energy and take on the energy. Maybe you need to visualize it, what kind of energy and mentality you had during practice and how much effort and how that brought you results, and take that energy with you. Can you do that? That shifts the focus from like something generalistic, like of course understandable, but it focuses the attention on the player and basically directs how you want me to act in that moment of time, or how you want to move forward, or maybe give an even option if you want to do that. And then at the end of like, I really like your passion, and together like we can, beat this team. I'm definitely like end it in a specific like positive way that feels right for you. So I would add that next to like your start, because you started off strong, the ending is there, and when you combine these two together, then you got a really nice full circle with like influencing positive behavior.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. In terms of the time, it's already 10 o'clock, so we move on. And I would like to only, before we move on, shine a small light on this exercise that hopefully you guys saw as well. That's how important it is to practice these seemingly artificial like role-playing parts, to just practice it out. And you can do this in your safe space as well, when you know your players are there and you just keep trying because they don't know what you're trying to develop, right? But it helps to give this feedback, like what are the common, you can say, pitfalls. And usually it's either the beginning, either that they are not focusing on like what you want the player to do, or even like finalizing it or ending it with something positive. So even though it is, you can say the hamburger model is something fairly simple, does not, again, mean it is easy at all times. So it's about practicing, and hopefully you guys have seen enough, you know, even though it's just 2 examples, what the pitfalls are, what is really good, how you can use it, how you experience it, so how it feels, and how you can basically think your way through in terms of like, how can I prepare these situations so I can influence basically like my environment in a better way when the pressure is high, when they win, when they lose, when they want to give up, etc. You can prepare this, write it out, and it doesn't need to be exactly, but you already thought about it. It's like visualize, you already experienced it a couple of times, and that will be you like 100 times much more likely to say the right thing at the right time. So, and the more you will prepare, the more you practice, the more influential you will become, and start to stop, you know, controlling yourself alone and be actually a highly influential person inside your team, whether you're a player, coach, or manager. So, in order to finalize and go towards the end, basically the thing is, what I would like to leave you, hopefully you've learned, it's all about people first, players second. And I understand this is very difficult and there are also some time constraint, but sometimes it's just asking that one extra question every practice, sliding into the DM, you know, with 1 or 2 questions, or just one extra compliment, or dragging them down to a different channel, or speaking up in between the rounds towards the person, trying to really and truly penetrate that player harness and really try to see the player, the people first. Because it's not that you are only a coach, you are also a son to someone. Maybe you're a brother, maybe you're a nephew, right? You're also a friend. Maybe you're a Pokemon card collector. Maybe you're like beyond all reason type of guy, right? You have so many different roles, and we forget that most of the time as, you know, people in esports, that we focus only on the gamer tag, right? We only focus most of the time on the gamer tag, but try to connect with the people. That's where the deep-rooted trust-based relationships are, and that is where the gold is. So if you truly care about unlocking the potential of your team, it's not about, you know, playing the best strategy or, you know, winning draft or whatever. This is the highest level of performance, and that is done through people. So the core 2 secrets that we covered to become more influential in teams is the first one, from being interested to being invested into your teammates, and already know what your team needs. And that is by preparing these common scenarios, already crafting your, you know, good to go reaction, using the hamburger model, and then when the moment is there, to pull it out of your toolbox and influence it and turn something that would maybe like spiral down into something negative, to break the pattern and make it a positive spiral, because you are now influential for your team. And with that being said, we are now at the end. And what I always do is like, I always ask a couple of questions. Usually there's one other in terms of like the goal, but what have you learned and how did you experience it? So Akai, you also wanted to say you broke your mood. Akai, do you want to? Oh, no? Okay, you book your mood. So the question that I have, just use the chat, or you can just unmute yourself. I'm really just keep it easy and light. I'm curious, what have you learned and how did you experience it? Yeah, no worries, Akai. You got it. So who wants to share something, what they've learned and how did you experience it?
I guess I'll go since
sure.
I don't the unmuting.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is framing and tonality, right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and it's how you explain it, right?
Is that what you've learned, or like is that an insight that you want to bring in?
That's more of what I've learned. It's from my point of view, it's tonality and how you say things, not necessarily what you say.
Right, that's also a big part. Like years ago, I was in the sales industry, and you have like this rule of like the words are like 7%. Like the tonality is like 37%, or like 38%, or like what adds up to 100, and 55% is body language. That's how we communicate. So yeah, for sure, that is definitely a big part of how you communicate with people. Silver saying, I think a lot of the stuff I learned is about how I can apply the things that I already know better, and how important it is to continuously approach players in the right way every day with questions rather than just one good question every few scrim days, and connect with them every day. For B9, how to be a better human and how our words and rules have impacts in the team mentality, approaches players in a positive way. This is the thing that will help me a lot. Amazing. All right. So guys, always like nice to have free stuff, but I want to plug in something if that's okay with you guys. That's 2 quick things, and then it's okay. If you like what we did today, like practicing, interacting, learning about like these deep psychological stuff, also touching on things that you already know, but never, mentioned to put words to it, or like, I knew this is true. This is constantly what we're trying to do. We're revealing the reality of human dynamics inside the esports coaching blueprint. And in just a couple of weeks, it will be launched again. So that will be a 4-week, you can say, course. Already 200 plus coaches have went through the system, really benefited greatly in terms of like the results that they've got, not even with the best players, but really through the system and through like the stuff like this, through the people, your structures, performance ways, and how to interact on an individual and team level with a lot of structures and system templates, everything. We will go over it all. So if you like what we did today, then I just genuinely know you will love this. So this is a QR code. So if you want to scan this, use your mobile phone, right? And I will send the link on this. How much it will cost? The cost for it will be $397. So that's 4 weeks of intense training with like full day, like taking care, like with everything else, with exercises and going through all of the deep stuff. And at the end, even have a certification. So it's not just like, oh, I'm getting a course and then as a participation certification. You will only receive your certification if you can showcase that you can implement the things that you've learned, because that has always been the true value. Not that you know things or understand things, because information is cheap, but you will have the ability, and I will personally look at your coaching, and then through like a system, like you can download it here for free, like in the Discord channel of like the free coach skill matrix. Based on those metrics, you will be able to, or you will be, you can say, judged or evaluated on your skill level. And if it's a high enough level, then you will receive your certificate. So there's no participation trophy, only when you actually can apply the things and you showcase it. So if you're really looking for like, I really want to do this, I want to go into the uncomfortable zone, I don't want to spend like years of like trying to build up experience and then maybe get comfortable and just create my own thing and really feel like, okay, I want to learn the true and proven stuff that has helped many people through this, then this is for you. Like Douglas, are you here, by the way? By chance?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so like this is not prepared, but maybe 2 sentences. You've went through this, like a different program, but the same thing in terms of like the esports coach revolution. But this is like the same thing. So what do you have to say about like what you've learned from where you've started, basically? How has it helped you?
It helped me so much, honestly, guys. I've been following Donny's and following courses with the 1-year programs and ECR. And since then, I've just been improving so much on my coaching skills, methods. I was basically the nobody coach. Nowadays, I coach top 17th players EU on Rocket Leagues. And yeah, I could just say, go for it. Honestly, that's my genuine advice for you guys, because you will skyrocket your career, I guess.
Well,
if you
I
put
cannot-
the
I
hard
cannot
work,
say
Donny would be here for you and to make you improve. Honestly, just like he has been to me these few months.
yeah. Well, much appreciated, man. I couldn't say it any better. Like, this is like the best I can do. Like,
You're
it's
welcome, man.
much easier when someone promotes it. So, yeah. I was sending you the PayPal later, Douglas.
Yeah. On DM.
Yeah. All right, and then for the people like, okay, that you feel like, I'm already comfortable, with my coaching skills. There's one other thing that is currently going on, and that is a little bit a big thing. That's also like what Douglas said. Like he's joining basically every program, while he's also like one of the coaches that have grown so fast and so hard in the last, I would say, 2 years. It's quite remarkable, but he also puts in a lot of work. But if you're ready to go pro and you feel like, I feel like I got skills, I'm confident already, and when you love esports coaching so much and you really have the desire, like, if I can go pro within 12 months, holy shit, if I can do that, like, that will be amazing. So there is currently a 1-year esports coaching transformation program that will open its doors, or close its doors actually, in just I think a little bit less than 2 weeks. So if you want to join me, also Douglas, also Path, who's here, with like a full year of working on yourself, your visibility, your coaching skills, building an amazing portfolio that it's not like you have to reach out to other professional teams, but eventually people and these teams will see the value in you and reach out and start to reach out with you. So that is what we're working on. And it's been pretty amazing so far, also with lectures of like the pro scene, the tier 1 scene, how they operate, how they select coaches. So truly valuable. Of course, it's not like I would say, the lowest amount of investment, because it's a full year working one-on-one with me and also with remarkable like-minded coaches. So if that is a thing, just send me a DM, right, in terms of like that, and I will send you some information. I have like a full video where everything is explained, and we can talk about that. But this is only for like the serious coaches, and really if you want to really want to go pro and feel like, yeah, this is what I want. So that's it. If there are any questions, pop when you're hot. If not, I'm very thankful of you spending your time and having the full attention with me. Extra bonus kudos to the people who participated, and also in the exercises and into the chat. But everyone, thank you so much. I hope it was helpful. It helped you with your next building block in your career to becoming more impactful and achieving your goals. So with that being said, thank you all so much. I will be posting the PDF of the presentation here in the chat for anyone who wants to grab it.
Yeah, thanks, Donny, for the presentation.
You're welcome, buddy. Yeah, it was nice to meeting you, and I hope to see you in the next Masterclass program or anything like that. So thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
I have a question about the schedules of the 4-week program and the year program.
Mm-hmm.
You said the 4-week one is like quite intense. What is the schedule of the year program? Is it like once a week, once a month, twice a month? Like, what's the?
Yeah. So for the if we talk only like talk about like the year program, so there are basically bi-weekly sessions. So we have a group call where everyone basically shares their experience of what they've been working on, what they're continue to work on. So it is really like helping each other, like being like 500 IQ, right? That type of like brainstorm mastermind type of thing. So, and we also have like bi-weekly like these type of masterclasses to grow your career, to position yourself. But sometimes it's the weekly. The thing is, like, it's a very small group. So also for the next opening of the doors, or the next upcoming 2 weeks, there are only 4 spots left. So it's not for like 20 coaches or anything. So what that means is, like, when you are joining, or the people that are inside, we will recalibrate so everyone will be available. So it will always be fitting your schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, and in terms of like the 4 week, that is like your next question. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the 4 week.
The next question was how much is it, the year program?
Yeah, I will share that with you. If you send a DM, like, I will share the information. Then I will send you a video soon that explains everything, like how it's built up, and it will probably be enough for you to make a decision, yay or nay. But I can say this: it's a 4-figure investment.
Okay.
But it's for a full year. But it's for you to decide. CXL, thank you so much. So, yeah, just send me a message and I'll take care of it. In terms of like the 4 week, so it's not decided yet, but usually what has been proven in the past, the best day is Saturday afternoon, European time, or like what did I say? Not afternoon, evening. So Saturday evening is has been proven time and time again the best time. So it will be very likely to be Saturday afternoon, and then it will be usually 3.5 to 4 hours with breaks in between, and then 4 weeks with homework, exercises, and stuff to do in between for that week. So the thing only that you need is a drive, and also like a team or a person to implement the things that you learn. That's it.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else has a question, or just hanging out for a bit? That's all good.
Somebody had one in chat.
Oh, what did I miss?
It was one about like.
Oh, the schedule flexible or fixed during those 4 weeks. Well, the live sessions, like these are live sessions, though they are fixed. So because like, unless like everyone says like, oh, like we all cannot join because, you know, all of my mothers like are birthday and there's a wedding, like that will be difficult. Then we will try to figure something out, but it will probably be on a fixed time. And yeah, that's it. But you will always get like the downloadables and everything as well on the online platform with all the recordings as well. So if you happen to miss for whatever reason, right, you have a very important wedding and you want to absorb everything, like there will be recordings and you will be able to, you know, find that in the online platform, that basically the academy, where you can download everything, all of the lessons, all of the things. So I hope that answers also your question, Akai, and for whoever has it. So I've only been coaching for a few months, but I would be more interested in working in a long-term plan. Would that also work for me? Yes, that will work for you, because I completely forgot, and I think this could be maybe something that is useful. Maybe also for silver, if for what it counts. When you join the year program, you get a free ticket as a bonus for the Esports Coach Accelerator. So it's included. So it's not like separate yet. You have to purchase both. Like you can actually join the year program and then have that included. So that is, you can say, a big discount. Because we're working on, you can say, like how I call this, like the concept, how I named it, of like the outside coach of like how people see you, your reputation, like the value that you can offer, but also the inside coach, just like actually working on your coaching skills to be able, when you reach those high levels, right? It's not only just a marketing thing, right? You actually have to provide and get results and work with people on that higher level, right? They expect different things than the amateur level. So we'll help you to be prepared and be all fully ready for that as well. So, yeah, there are always payment plans. Yeah. So either it's paid in full and there's a soft discount for that, or a monthly payment. So you can basically pay. And the whole goal, at least if I can say about like the year program, that means it is a monthly payment. And well, you can ask Doglish, for example. Maybe you can say like he's also on the side earning money through the program because of he set up freelance coaching, also starting to get opportunities with other teams. So Douglas, do you think it's worth it? Like if you have payment plans, does it pay for itself, or what do you think?
Yeah, basically, right now I'm near to have the 1 year programs paid with the freelance coaching. If you know what I mean, like the coaching aside I've been doing, as even if I practice low price, right now I got shit tons of DMs for one-on-one session paid, and therefore it made me able to, yeah, to not even think about the payment of the 1 year program. So the good feeling that you are learning and earning for free in some way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if that would not be the case, I would not have a business or a program to be run. So that is basically the promise. And, you know, like in the video, it also explains there's also a guarantee like to basically have everything inside of it. Basically 6-7 hours. Yeah. And that's fine. Like you get basically all of the things, like the full package. And in a year, like Douglas have been working with me for 2 years now, and like he's really getting to the top. He's earning his money and he's making it happen. So that is just for one person, but also for the others. They're also like in terms of like the reviews, like if you want, like I'm not sure if this is now the time or moment, but I'm happy, you know, to sit down in a call to show you basically the testimonials, the results, not only from the people currently, but also the people I've worked with before, what they've earning, how much their coaching improved, it increased, like what is happening in terms of like how people reach out and the whole transformation basically. So if you want to have that, I'm happy to jump on a call, just like to show you show you everything, give you all of the information so you can make the decision if that is something that you like to join or not. And either way, that's fine, but it would be a shame if you feel interested in like not doing it because of whatever reason. But for sure. Like just send me a DM, Akai. That's all good. Like we'll be then setting up a call, like maybe somewhere this week or anytime soon, and we just run through everything. That's it. So I hope that will work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a one-on-one session with a player now, so I'm gonna go. But thank you very much. And I'll probably be DMing you